So this is video number 2 for chapter 8. We're going to cover two things: finding the area of trapezoids, which we didn't talk about yet in the first video, and then also a quick review of how exponents work, so evaluating expressions with exponents. Okay, this is not stuff that's in your book. So we talked about this with triangles and parallelograms a little bit, but the base of a shape could be any of the sides. The base has to be one of the sides of the shape. And then we talked about how the height has to be perpendicular to the base. So remember, in our triangles, I could draw something like this, where the height is perpendicular, drawn in. Okay. But in a trapezoid, the bases, remember we have two bases now in a trapezoid because it has two parallel sides. Those are both bases. So in my picture here, this could be base 1, this could be base 2. They're parallel. We draw arrows on them, parallel to each other. Okay, so we're going to be talking about shapes like this now, trapezoids. Just remember that your trapezoid could be going this way, where this is base 1 and this is base 2, and they connect to make something like this. That is also a trapezoid, just turned and going the other direction. Okay, so we remember bases and heights. Let's talk about the area of a shape like this. Okay, if I asked you to find the area of this, you might say, we know something about base and height. If I have height drawn in, what if I try, I'm going to take this red one. This red box lines up with base 1. Okay, so I can see that I would get this area. If I did base 1 times the height, I would get the area of this rectangle, which you can see is too small. That doesn't cover the whole thing. So you say, okay, well wait, what if I do this green one? And I put this up here and I use base 2. So what if I do base 2 times the height? Now I get this green area. And you can see that is too big because there's extra stuff over here and extra stuff over here. That's not going to work either. So I can't use just base 1 and I can't use just base 2. I have to think about a better way to do it. So let me get rid of that. What if I put this up there and I actually use an average of base 1 and base 2? Okay, not all the way to the full base 2, but not as short as base 1. I pick something in between. Well, if it's exactly in the middle between base 1 and base 2, like this blue rectangle, this little piece out here would actually fit and fill in right there, and this little piece out here would fit and fill in right there, and that blue rectangle is actually going to give me the correct area of the trapezoid. So you're asking, well, how do I find the exact middle between the length of base 1 and base 2? Well, to find the middle between things, we use the average. So on your paper, when it asks you for the area of a trapezoid, write this down. Average. Take a look in this box. If you remember, the average is what we get when we add two things together and then divide by how many numbers we have. So if I add my two bases up and then divide it by 2, I'll get the average. So this in the green box is the average base, and then multiplied by the height. That will give me the correct area. Okay? So for example, if I had a base of 4 and the other base of 8, the average between 4 and 8, if I add those up and divide by 2, I get 12 divided by 2, or 6. So if I drew a rectangle right here that was 6 by whatever my height is, that would give me the correct area. So let's do a couple examples. Area of this one, it's right on your paper. I've got two bases. I have to find the two sides that are parallel. So I have base 1 and base 2. Formula is to do, go up. Okay, forget that. Formula is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. That's the average base times the height. So my two bases are 8 and 12 divided by 2 times my height. And I have to find the height right here that's perpendicular. This is not the height. Okay, 3 is my height. So let's work it out. 8 plus 12 divided by 2. So that gives me 10 times 3, or 30. So whatever units I have, like inches, it would be 30 square inches. Okay? Let's do one more together. This one. Now I have a trapezoid that's going up sideways. These are actually my bases because those are the two parallel sides. Looks like this is a right angle, so I can use this as my height. Even though it's going sideways, that's my height. So formula, base plus base divided by 2, write this down as your work, times the height. Base 1, here's my two bases, right? 15 and 7 divided by 2 times my height. My perpendicular height is 9, and then work it out. 15 plus 7, I get 22 divided by 2, or 11 times 9. So I get an area of 99, and then whatever my units are, square units. So like square centimeters or square feet. Okay? So to review, just like in a triangle, the bases are going to be sides of the shape. In a trapezoid, we're going to have two bases. So I need two sides that are parallel for a trapezoid. And then the height has to be a segment going between them. So if my bases go like this, my height has to be perpendicular going between them. If my bases go like this, my height has to be perpendicular going between them. Okay? All right. So there's two more examples here. Find the area and perimeter for each one. You practice these. So pause the video, work it out. Okay? Let's call these units centimeters and these units inches, so that you can label your answers. Okay? So try both area and perimeter, and then we'll come back and check. Okay, in the first one, area, base plus base divided by 2 was 8 and 4. These are my two bases. Divided by 2, that gave me 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And I put my unit squared, centimeters squared on there. And then perimeter, add up all the sides. So I have 8 and 4 and 6 and another 6 to add together. And then in this one, area, base plus base. So now here are my two bases. Again, it's going sideways. Base plus base divided by 2. And then times the height, which is 6. So I added those up, divided by 2, and I got 85.5. Unit should be inches squared for area. And then perimeter. Add up the sides. 3.8 plus 6 plus 7.5 plus 9.2. And I got 26 label inches. So we'll do more practice with that in class, but let's go on to our quick review of exponents and how they work. So in an exponent, it looks like this. These little guys written up here are the exponent. This is the base number. And if you recall, this would mean 3, the base number, multiplied by itself 2 times. So this would be 3 times 3. So write that down in your notes when you have room here for these examples. Again, the base number multiplied by itself that many times. So 4 times 4 times 4. Or this multiplied by itself 5 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? So write yourself a note where it says, how do exponents work? We have the base number multiplied by itself, however many times the exponent tells you to. So you have these as practice problems on your paper. Okay? You can write them out, like this one would be just 7 times 7, and you have a calculator, so do that. Or in your head, you know it's 49. Okay? Then we have to kind of remember order of operations a little bit too in some of these. Order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we have to do parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication and division from left to right, adding and subtracting from left to right. So we'll look at one of these harder ones together, and then you can practice with the rest, okay? So if I look at this one, parentheses first, 4 plus 2, well, that gives me 6. Then I'm on to exponents. 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. And then 4 times that, 4 times 36, and I get 144. So remember, we work down. Do one step at a time, rewrite it on a new line, show your work, and then work down to get the answer. Okay? So there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these total. Finish the rest of them, work them out, show all your work, and then pause it while you do that, and we'll come back and check. So make sure you have all your work as you check these. So I just did 11 times 11 here, and this one I did 5 squared first, and then 4 times my answer, 4 times 25. Here with these ones, we did this one together, but let's check here. I did 10 squared, 10 times 10, and then 7 times 100. Or here I did this addition first and got 9. 9 squared is 81, and then 5 times 81. And then for the last two, here I did the addition first and got 11. 11 squared is 121. Okay, then I'm rewriting everything after each step. 6 times 21 gave me this. 2 times 9 gave me this. And final step is to add them together. And then in this one, I can do this addition, and I got 10. And then do my exponent here. Really, I should do this part, exponents first. I got 144. And then keep going, follow order of operations from there. And I ended up with 566. So that was a quick review, but that's the end of Chapter 8, Video 2.